1 second. Oh.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. No echo?
Yeah, but pull your mic closer.
Okay. We will go ahead and call this very special HARC meeting of Wednesday, November 19th at 5:30 PM at Recca Hall, live and virtually, to order. I'm going to go right to the purpose of HARC, which is to preserve, maintain, and enhance the historic character, scale, architectural integrity, and cultural resources of the town and the Telluride Historic Landmark District. So we'll go ahead and have our roll call. If we go ahead and speak in the normal order that you sit in, and we have such a big crowd that we really need to get going tonight quickly, don't we? Go ahead, Kieran. Are you here?
No. Yes. Kieran Lannon.
Stacy?
I think Stacy's absent. Yeah.
Absent? Okay. Matt? Matt's connected, right?
Yeah, but we have some audio
Can
issues.
you unmute Matt? Are you here?
He's dialing in with his phone, so.
What I'm saying.
I think that you have to push something.
Matt, can you hear us? Are you present?
It's giving us visual.
I think he has to push *6 or *9 or whatever. There we go.
Okay, sorry. Okay,
Can
Matt,
you hear,
Mark,
can you hear me, guys? Sorry, I've been
we
trying
got
to
you
get
now.
unmute me for a while.
we got you. Mark Chimba,
Bob Mather.
Andrew Williamson.
and Elitza absent.
Yeah.
Okay, we're 2 down. Every vote counts. From Telluride Town Council, we have Elena online, I think. And from staff, we have Piper, Darren, Allie, Kristen, Ben. And I don't see anybody else from staff online, so welcome all. Do we have a motion for approval of the minutes of our October 15th meeting?
Yeah. I move to approve the meeting minutes dated October 15th, 2025 as presented.
I'll second that. Bob.
Okay, Kieran,
Kieran, yes.
Matt, yes.
Bob, yes.
Mark, yes.
The picture just went away.
Bob?
Yes. I said yes.
Okay, okay.
Sorry.
All right. I hope you guys are all someplace fun. Okay, and the HARC chair meeting of the 17th, I'll move to approve it as written. Staff announcements.
No announcements at this time. We'll announce things later on in
Okay.
the next section.
The party's not ready to start? Okay. Is there any public comment on non-agenda items? And for the board that you can't see the big crowd, we have one lonely applicant and you guys are gone and just Kieran and I are holding down the fort. Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead with our first public hearing item, which is lot
Do you want to read the
8A,
public
San Juan
process
Village.
slide?
final scale.
Process slide.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll review the process for, I guess, just us. The HARC chair will introduce the project. Then the applicant gives, or staff gives a presentation. And then the applicant, and we ask, if we can ask questions. The applicant then gives their presentation where we have questions. We ask for 30 minutes or less. On continuances, it's often less. That's just a hint. Or the public is then invited to make comments. We ask for those to be 3 minutes or less, please. And there's no dialogue directly allowed between the public and the applicants and our board members. Then the application or the applicant may rebut any remarks from the public, and then public comment ends and HARC deliberates, votes on a decision. So that's our process. Thanks for joining us. And the first public hearing item is lot 8A San Juan Village, final large-scale multifamily projects, consideration application for final large-scale new construction outside the THLD will contain more than 5,000 square feet per land use code 7203B2A1. Project being reviewed currently with 7A San Juan Village. Well, that's the way it has been, but tonight they're separated. Legal description is lot 8 San Juan Village, PUD, block 20, West Telluride. Accommodations to plat book 1, page 20043, recorded 5/1/96. Decks recorded in the book 561, 135, 5196. Correction plat book 1, page 2122. And the address is to be determined. It's in the accommodations 2 district. We've seen this 3 times before. Owner is, including the work session, Laurel Diane Langmaid, trustee of the Langmaid Living Trust. Applicant Berkowitz Design, and Kristen Clothier is our staff member on this project.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, so I just put up the slide of the standards for review of projects and the action by the decision-making body, just standard practice. It's included in the presentation that will be on the record. So yeah, San Juan Village, Lot 8A. So we are now at the final large-scale review, and this is by lot. So as Mark just read, the lot is currently vacant, and it is not located within the THLD. It's in the accommodations treatment area. And the project proposes new multifamily construction within the San Juan Village PUD. Site significance and context, just to remind HARC members, some of the highlights. The accommodations 2 zone district allows higher densities. It's directly north and adjacent to the pedestrian bike path on the north side of Colorado, just south of the middle high school playing field. It's in a highly visible location at the gateway to the town, and it's part of the San Juan Village PUD, which has additional restrictions on the lots while allowing for some flexibility. For example, the PUD specifies a minimum and maximum number of dwelling units per lot. And a development proposal for the adjacent vacant lot 7A is also currently in the HARC review process. So project review to date, very quickly, there was a work session in December of 2024. In February 2025, the P&Z chair approved a minor subdivision to adjust the interior lot line. This minor lot line adjustment provided the applicant with the lot configuration needed to design the project to be consistent with the design guidelines, while at the same time constructing at least the minimum required number of dwelling units per lot per the PUD. We had public hearings on May 21st, July 16th, that were both continued to the next hearing. And then finally, on August 20th, the continued public hearing was held where HARC approved the preliminary large-scale new construction on both Lot 7A and Lot 8A with 2 conditions. Of the 2 conditions, only one applies to Lot 8A, and I will get into that shortly. You all know the overall precepts of the design guidelines: keep it simple, keep it in scale, respect the historic resources, and make all new design compatible with the existing context. Again, we're in the accommodations zone district. So now catching us up subsequent to the August 20th HARC meeting, the applicant met with historic preservation, planning, and building staff following the August 20th hearing multiple times in preparation for submitting a final large-scale submittal that you're reviewing this evening. The plans have been revised by the applicant to address the final August HARC condition. The applicant had already demonstrated compliance with previous conditions from prior HARC public hearings. So the HARC condition that remained was on the east unit, building B, set back the wall above the 3rd floor line a minimum of 2 feet and add a shed roof to break up the mass and scale per AC 23 AA1, AC 23 1, 2, and 3. The applicant has revised the plans to step back the wall above the 3rd floor line and added a shed roof to break up the mass and scale, which you can see here. So the applicant has met the final condition of HARC. This is just reminding us that pending project approval by HARC, Building, Planning, and Public Works staff have identified items that will need resolution prior to building permit issuance. These items should not impede the HARC review process. We will, as staff, ensure that these items are addressed at the appropriate time. And I list some of those items here specific to this project, and that will come in during building permit submission review. So staff findings and recommendations. The lot is situated at the gateway to town, as you know, and we've discussed, in the Telluride Historic Landmark District. For this reason, thoughtful development of this property is especially important to ensure visual continuity from the west edge of town to the historic core. The revised submittal addresses the one remaining condition from the August HARC meeting. Staff finds that the project is in substantial compliance with the design guidelines and recommends approval by HARC with no conditions. I included a proposed motion in your packet, and I will tag in the applicant to share what they have done since we last met.
Quick question before we go there.
Sure.
Do you know how much that third floor was recessed with that shed roof?
I don't have that right in front of me, so I'll have the
I
applicant
say,
address that if that's okay.
so
I
we
can
have
look-
one issue to address. Ron, welcome.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Can you
Isn't
speak
it-
into the microphone?
Okay, how's that?
Better.
Okay. Ron Berkovitz Design. Is that my? No, that's on your screen, the notification there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just to start off and to answer your question, Mark, I don't remember, but there was a specific amount that was requested by HARC on that, and we did comply and do exactly that. I don't know if it was 2 feet or 4 feet or what.
It's at a minimum of 2 feet.
It's a minimum of 2 feet,
So-
yeah.
But
yeah.
is it,
It
is
looks
it,
more than that at this point.
I just would need to know, really, almost everything's over if you tell me it's a minimum of 2
It's
feet.
a minimum of 2 feet, yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Because I can't tell. Anyway.
Probably tell by the
All
elevations.
right, it just didn't look as recessed, we said minimum, as I thought. I mean, it's, anyway, I will see what the board says about it, but you did what we asked, and is there anything else to say?
No, I mean, our process was we worked on getting the plans ready for construction for building permit and kind of went through top to bottom, the whole building, getting everything to work in a normal, building construction format, thickness of brick and all the structure and on and on and on. So, and it still ended up, for the most part, exactly the same as it was before. So I have nothing else to add.
Okay,
So, yeah.
well, thank you. Let's see if the board has any questions.
Public comment first.
Go ahead, Bob.
Public comment first.
No,
Oh.
he's asking if the board has. any
If we have
that-
questions, I'm not ready for deliberations. Just if you had questions of Ron
No,
before we lose him.
no questions.
Okay. Any public comment?
Hang on, Mark, I have a question.
Okay, yes, Andrew.
Per my packet and what is on the screen, it looks to be on the screen that all three of these front facades have a lot of the red brick. And then the one I have in my packet, the furthest west home, I know we're not reviewing it, but it is not. I'm just confirming that these two in Lot A, both of these upper two-story elements are all red brick, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Good observation. Any other questions? Okay, there is no public in the room, and I see nobody raising their hand electronically. If you want to speak on this project, please do raise your hand electronically. And seeing no one, we're ready to start deliberations. So we have one item. And I brought up, I think maybe, Bob, this was actually your condition, but that, to me, it looked, I don't want to exaggerate, but saying it just didn't have the depth of look that I would expect it. And we said minimum of 2 feet because we wanted to see what it looked like. We didn't charge ahead and say 4 feet, but, and I'm not thinking 4 feet, but is everybody happy with the 2 foot? It just looks like a too small of an appendage to me.
Hey, Mark, I just scaled that setback off the applicant's drawing since they didn't seem to know how far they moved it, and it looks to be between 18 and 20 inches, not 2 feet.
Thank you, Matt, for detailing that. Okay. Does anybody think it should be more than 2 feet? Going once, going twice? Okay, then I think we need to stay with the original condition, which Ron was within inches of, but not quite there. So I guess who would like to make, well, and one other comment that may come up. 7A is now divorced from this and it's coming next. We don't know because we haven't heard what is the problem with 7A. There must be something. And so the question is, what if we approve this and then this needs to be adjusted because there's some setback issue from 7A? I'm asking this of the board. Does anybody have any comment on that? Maybe it should be conditional approval, but I'll go with the board's pleasure here. I mean, once we're done here, there's no reprieve on 7A if there's some fix that would affect 8A. And they've been together from the beginning. So Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, Mark, I think we should condition final approval on this application, which is lot 8A, on final approval of lot 7A.
I agree
Everybody,
with
everybody okay?
As long as I don't have to make the motion.
Well, which one do you want? I thought maybe this was it.
I'm gonna hand out seconds like it's Halloween candy, man.
Okay, okay. All right, so we just need to modify condition number 1 since it was not met. To say, well, I guess we could just repeat what we said. Set back the wall. You can just use the old condition, a minimum of 2 feet and add the shed roof. So we can just make the motion with that old condition and approve it if somebody wants to make a motion. Oh, and then the contingent on condition number 2 would be the contingent on approval of 7A, which we don't know what's happening there yet.
Hey, before you make a motion, I just want to get the board's pulse on what you guys think about both of these upper units having the red brick on it. It kind of seems to me that it just creates a little bit more massing and kind of feels like more wholesome as opposed to being a little bit more separate.
With 2 of the 3, you mean?
Correct. Just per 8A, because the materials are the same on
Okay.
both the upper second and third story, and obviously a little bit to what it looks to be like on the west going down to the first floor.
Okay.
If a change in material would help maybe break up some of that overall perceived massing.
Okay, I trying to remember, I thought we reduced some of this brick once, and I thought it was more on the west side, so it was just the frontal piece, but I'm sorry, somebody else can help fill in that blank, but can anybody comment on Andrew's concern?
I think appropriate amount of red brick, so
Go ahead, who's next, Matt, Bob?
What did you just say? You broke up what did Kieran say?
yeah, sorry about that, Bob. I said I think it's close enough to an appropriate amount of red brick. In my opinion.
I don't have a problem with the red brick, and I think I agree about having the putting condition 1 back in about the setback, and Matt's condition 2 about the contingent on the approval of 7A.
Okay, everybody good? Let's make a motion.
I don't
Remember,
have the old one in front of me here, so
all
sorry.
right, you know,
Somebody there can do it.
okay, go ahead, and remember, it's not the beat, it's the motion. Okay. Go ahead.
Who? No, I said I don't have that condition in front of me to be able to read it off. Sorry.
Okay, I'll do it at just expedite here.
Language on the conditional is where I stumbled with it.
Yeah. Okay, I move to approve the final large-scale new construction on lot 8A San Juan Village based on the findings and staff memo dated November 19th, 2025, with 2 additional. Number 1 would be the old condition that says on the east unit building B, set back the wall above the 3rd floor a minimum of 24 inches and add a shed roof to break up the mass and scale per AC 23A1, AC 23(1), 2, and 3. Condition number 2, that this approval shall be contingent upon the approval of lot 7A project, period.
That'll second.
You gotta finish it.
Yeah, the revised plans incorporating the conditions of approval should be submitted with 60 days. This approval becomes null and void, and the rest as written. Do we have a second?
That'll second.
Okay. Kieran?
Kieran, yes.
Bob,
Matt, yes.
yes. Oh, sorry. Bob, yes.
Mark, yes.
Andrew, yes.
Matt?
I already said yes.
Okay, sorry, we missed it. Okay, it's approved. We'll go on to the second item.
Okay,
Like
thank you.
2020 all over again.
2020. Lot 7A, San Juan Village, final large-scale multifamily. There is no staff report. The applicant has requested a continuance to 12/17 following a brief discussion here this evening. So the summary is it's consideration of well, we're not going to rule on this tonight. So we're just going to give the applicant a chance to voice any concerns about the previous conditions. And we're not going to deliberate. We are just going to listen and we'll see where this goes. So do you have some brief comments on why you couldn't comply? I guess that's why you're here.
Yeah, actually, technically, we were able to comply with the condition and the motion of the massing, the preliminary approval. So we submitted a plan that moved back the whole front 5 feet. And then, simultaneously with submitting this for HARC approval, we were doing our permit plans. And, then as we were working on it, it's like, man, we can't get the stair to work. Oh man, we can't look at that bedroom. That's 9 feet wide. Oh man, look at that bathroom. That's like the size of an airline bathroom. And then, stuff like you open the front door and the front step is, 2 inches away from the swing of the door. So I said, wait, we need to reconsider what's going on here, as opposed to simply compressing what we had gotten approved with that condition. I said, wait, time out. We need to do some more work on this. And at that point, it was too late to kind of say, hey, here's another plan. And, so that was about 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever. So, anyway, I'm just asking for the permission to make some design modifications to the preliminary approval. Part of that is internal as well, that we had 2 units that had multiple bedrooms and 2 sets of stairs. What I want to do is to go to just a 1-bedroom unit in the front without a stair. That saves quite a bit of space, and then that also gives the ability. We've got a concern about the livability and marketability of the front lower unit. It's like right straight across from Clark's and next to the bus stop. So that may end up being, if staff agrees with me, commercial space. It could be. I think it's allowed to be within accommodations to commercial space. at the ground level. So it could be, so we're designing that as a 1-bedroom unit that could also be commercial space.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, that's pretty much, I could, then along with that, we do want to revisit a little bit of recapturing of the front in association with some other changes we've made. So there was a condition of the 5 feet before, and there's quite a bit of history of that. And I could, if you wanted to, I could go through the various footprints over time, or I can do that in the hearing in December, you know.
I
So-
think we should probably do it in that hearing because
Okay.
we're,
Yeah, I
we
agree.
can't even give you any guidance here.
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
For that too.
Sorry.
I'd vote for that too.
Oh, okay. So unless somebody online, wants to go through that, I would note that I brought my notes from July and August here. This is our 4th time. And in August, it went to 10-foot setback in that corner. And so I was assuming coming in here that that was part of the problem, but I don't want anything to imply here that we're going to change those conditions. And unfortunately, through maybe some people's eyes, our job is to adjudicate per the design guidelines in the land use code. And we've had all kinds of form and function challenges that people have had to redesign and meet, and lost a bathroom, I mean, I understand the difficulty of this. So, but we're going to go ahead and do a continuation and look forward to seeing you again, Ron, and hope that you can comply. And so we need a motion.
Yeah, I got it.
You get this?
If we're ready. Yeah. Okay. I move to continue the San Juan Village 7A final to December 17th, 2025 HARC meeting. This motion is based on evidence and testimony provided at a public hearing held on November 19th, 2025 with notice of such hearing provided as required by the Telluride Land Use Code. That's why I don't make many motions.
I'll second that, Bob.
Okay.
Kieran, yes.
Matt, yes.
Mark, yes.
Bob, yes.
Andrew, yes.
Okay, good luck working through the challenge,
All right.
Ron. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll proceed with the third hearing item, which is 234 North Spruce, small scale new construction, continuation from our September 17th meeting. It's consideration of an application for small scale new construction in a zone district that will contain 950 square foot or more of floor area, but not more than 2,500 square foot within the THLD per 7203 A1 B1, and minor scale new construction in a residential zone will contain less than 950 square foot of floor area per THLD 7203 AC1. Legal description is the west 67.5 feet of lot 18, block 32, Telluride accommodations to replat of the recorded 42779 in the plat book 1, page 144. It's at 234 North Spruce. It's in the historic residential zone. Owner Christopher Carter, applicant Alpine Planning, and reviewer John Southard. John, welcome. Welcome back. Oh, we got to unmute.
He's unmuted, but we can't hear him.
Huh? Can you hear us? Just give me a thumbs up, but we can't hear you. Huh.
How about now?
Ah, there you are.
There you are.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be back. I appreciate it. This darned headset, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, share your screen and feel free to start here.
Okay, very good. Will do. So as you'll recall, this was heard at the September 17th, 2025 meeting. It was continued with a number of conditions. We subsequently met with the applicant and discussed the conditions, and the applicant opted to revise significantly, in fact, entirely, really, the proposal. So you have that in your packet. As Kristen had mentioned, the standards for review. are included in the presentation. This is something that is included in each presentation. This is a small scale review for new construction. They're looking, well, I do apologize, the square footage there is incorrect. The correct square footage is in the memo. I do have it here, if you'll allow me just a moment. The correct square footage is 1,953.93 square feet for the primary. That excludes the basement level, and 466.53 square feet for an accessory building. This is in the THLD, and in terms of related structures in the immediate vicinity, there are several contributing and supporting structures. Here, those include the 1895 Wunderlich House to the immediate south, the 1886 Johnson House to its immediate west, and the 1896 Smith House to the immediate north, and St. Patrick's Church, constructed in 1896 at the northwest corner of the intersection of Spruce and Galena. Property is currently a vacant lot. For the applicant's narrative, the home that formerly stood on the site was damaged in a June 2012 fire and subsequently demolished. Here we have context for the property, indicating the number of contributing and supporting, and also non-contributing, both with and without qualifications, buildings and structures in its vicinity. So again, request is to construct a new 1,953.93 square foot primary residence that's excluding the basement level, and a 466.53 square foot accessory building. I will say the applicant was very amenable to making changes, worked very closely with us, and was very receptive to suggestions, came back with a revised proposal that was substantially in conformance with the historic residential district design guidelines. We'll go through just a few points here that I suggest the commission discuss, in addition to the points related to the historic residential district design guidelines and the lighting guidelines. I do want to point out that the excuse me, the coverage, the lot coverage is something that needs to be discussed by the commission. So the proposed is 1,356.92 square feet plus 108.12, a total of 1,465.04 square feet. Per the memo, this is in compliance, assuming the applicant demonstrates 100% below grade for site coverage increase area. We also have the minimum yard between primary and accessory building. The standard is 15 feet unless modified by HARC, but no less than 6 feet. Right now, the proposed yard setback between the primary and accessory is 7 feet. Finally, the minimum front setback is 15 feet, or the average setback of the block unless modified by HARC. For corner lots, which this is 15 feet or average setback of the block, unless modified by HARC, no less than 5 feet on front and side yards. Here we have a proposed front setback of 10 feet. So those are 3 additional items for the commission to consider in addition to the design guidelines that will be discussed here. So as Kristen had mentioned in the first presentation, the overall precepts of the design guidelines are keep it simple, keep it in scale, respect historic resources, and make all new design compatible with the existing context. And we're looking at the 2024 design guidelines for historic residential and exterior and site lighting. So With respect to historic residential design guideline number 23, pattern of building materials, here the design guideline talks about wood finishes. Exterior wood finishes should be painted or stained on primary structures. It's not that the submittal indicated that they would not be painted or stained. Rather, it did not clearly depict or specify whether materials, specifically WT1 vertical gray wood and SF1 horizontal gray wood soffit, as shown on sheet A-900 material schedule, will be painted or stained. So the recommendation is applicant should confirm all proposed exterior wood finishes will be painted or stained as outlined in 23.A.4. Similarly, design guideline number 24, building materials, also references exterior wood finishes needing to be painted or stained. And again, neither the plan set nor the applicant narrative clearly depict or specify whether the two aforementioned materials on sheet A900 will be painted or stained. So it is suggested that the applicant confirm that all proposed exterior wood finishes will be painted or stained as outlined in 24.A.4. Finally, with respect to the historic residential design guidelines, design guideline number 26, doors, states that all doors shall be no more than 2/3 lights. However, the east primary structure sketch on sheet A-201 primary west and east elevation appears to depict 3 door leaves exceeding 2/3 lights on the ground floor. So that is yet another item for consideration and one that is identified in the conditions. So moving on to exterior and site lighting guidelines. Number 1, exterior lighting. This calls for fixtures mounted or suspended below 10 feet above grade must be fully down directed and shielded so that no light rays are emitted above the horizontal plane. It also speaks to timers potentially being required, motion detectors being used only in approved locations, and all exterior circuits/fixtures being equipped with a photo sensor to turn on and a timer/off switch to turn off the lights during daytime. And here it's not a matter of the plans clearly not including it or indicating that the photo sensor and timer/off switch are not included, but a matter of them not indicating that they are. So neither the plan set nor the narrative clearly depict or specify details related to whether exterior lighting fixtures will emit light rays above the vertical plane. And it should say horizontal plane. That's, I apologize, my error. Likewise, neither the plan set nor the project narrative clearly depict or specify details related to whether exterior lighting fixtures will employ timers, motion detectors, or photo sensors. And again, with C5, 1C5, timers may be required, and motion detectors shall only be used in approved locations. Really, the requirement here is all exterior circuits/fixtures must be equipped with a photo sensor to turn on and a timer/off switch to turn off the lights during daytime. We have one more item here related to exterior and site lighting guidelines. This is exterior and site lighting number 2, interior lighting. Well, here they're looking at spillover light, interior lighting, not shining into residential living spaces on or off the property or public rights of way, and considering the potential for light spill when designing interior lighting. Here, this is something where the applicant for the design guidelines may submit interior lighting. This is an issue that HARC may consider. So here, neither the plan set nor the project narrative clearly depict or specify details related to interior lighting placement, fixtures, or other such information. That said, once again, this submittal is in substantial compliance with the design guidelines. There are, of course, items that would need to be reviewed subsequent to HARC review. Public Works, planning, or building staff will ensure that these items are addressed at the appropriate time. finding is the project is consistent with 28 of the 31 historic residential design guidelines. It is inconsistent with one of the 31 guidelines and has not sufficiently demonstrated consistency with 2 of the 31 historic residential design guidelines. In addition, neither the plan set nor the narrative demonstrate consistency with the exterior and site lighting guidelines 1 or 2. As such, a conditional approval is recommended so as to ensure the below conditions are addressed. Those conditions being condition 1, provide cladding material finish details so as to ensure compliance with historic residential design guideline number 23, intro 23A, 23A.4, and 24A.4. Condition 2, revised design to eliminate proposed doors exceeding 2/3 lights per historic residential design guideline 26A.6. And condition 3, provide the lighting details to ensure compliance with exterior and site lighting design guideline number 1, intro, 1B.1, 1C.5, 2 intro, 2A, 2A.1, 2A.2, and 2A.3. And once again, to remind the commission, there are 3 compliance items outside of the design guidelines that need to be taken into consideration, those being the minimum front setback, 15 feet for corner lots, or the average setback on the block, but no less than 5. Here, the proposed front setback is 10. The minimum yard between primary and accessory buildings, 15 feet unless modified by HARC, no less than 6 feet. Here, there is a proposal for a 7-foot separation. And then the maximum site coverage. And here, really, it is a matter of it being in compliance so long as the applicant demonstrates 100% below grade 4 site coverage increase area. So that is the conclusion of my presentation.
Thank you, John. And I think you cited all the relevant guidelines, and after your first meeting where you cited 23 guidelines, I almost feel a little let down, but that was a world record. Anyway, I have one question. Why do you think it's a question and you want the applicant to demonstrate that the below ground area, which is the basement bonus, is there a concern or something that we need to have them demonstrate that back to us? Because you show us the calculations, you know, including that bonus. But is there something else you want us to ask the applicant on that?
And Mr. Chair, that is a very good question. And for that, I will defer to Kristen, because that was something that was reviewed
Okay.
by city staff and included in the memo subsequent to that review. So
Okay, Ben's going to jump in and comment, and then I have one more question.
Hey,
Okay.
John, it's nice to meet you. That was just flagged in the CNC. We wanted to confirm the calculations were fine. We were just wanting to make sure that it was appropriate to be giving that
Okay.
to them. So that was not supposed to be brought to HARC. It's perfectly fine.
Okay, it's
So-
just illuminating that here's
Correct.
why it is compliant. Okay,
Correct, yeah.
thank you. My other question is, I think you cited the relevant conditions, but there's one that unless you were here looking, or unless we had streetscape showing, and I walked it today, of course, I walk this almost every day to the post office, you wouldn't know, and you couldn't know by being remote. And that is that I counted 5 one-story historic buildings in this very sensitive neighborhood. On the drawing A003, they show 2 of these on Spruce going downhill that are historic 1-stories. But across the street, there are 3 one-story buildings. And on north side on Galena, there are 2 one-story buildings. So this is a challenge, but under the context of the neighborhood, I'm just wanting to ask, now that you know that, which you couldn't have known unless you were here or they showed us more, do you have any concerns? And you can just be general, and then of course we'll ask the applicant.
you know, I will have to be general, and I apologize for not being able to be more specific. I realize this won't be terribly helpful, but it is an issue that I would recommend the commission consider in greater detail. And I do appreciate you bringing that to my attention.
Okay, and then we'll deliberate on and I'm sure the applicant will comment on the setbacks, 7 feet versus 15, et cetera. So, but any other questions of John?
No questions.
Mark, I've got one.
Okay, Matt.
As I was looking back through the application, I did notice, it's more of a comment than a question. I noticed that the project title is for a minor scale. Given the square footage of this project, this would be a small scale application, not a minor scale.
Okay, yeah, it's small. Well, it does say small on the motion.
Well, the memo project title says minor scale single family project.
Oh, okay, up front. Okay.
So it looks like a typo at the top. So.
Okay, it's, yeah, typo, because we got the motion. John has the motion right. It's small scale, but thank you for noting a little inconsistency. Any other questions? If not, let's hear from the applicant. Please share your screen. Welcome.
Hi, Chris Hawkins with Alpine Planning. Alex is going to present tonight. First, I just want to address the connector between the primary and accessory building. That connector is completely below finished grade. So that's even shown on some of the cross sections. So hopefully we can check that off. In regards to the question on the height of the block, that's typically addressed on the block face and not across streets, Mark. That's my understanding. And I'll take a look at the heights. This was not raised, by staff or by John, but I'll take a look at the streetscapes. There's only a few structures on that lot. And the house that did exist here before, I believe, was a 2-story house, because I think I saw a canoe with hippies drinking beer in it back around 2006. So not that that means anything, but it was a 2-story house.
Well, I was there.
That was you in the canoe?
Okay,
So
go ahead.
anyway, if Alex could present the rest of this, and I'll chime back in on the average height in a minute.
Sure. I just need John, if you mind not unsharing, I can share.
Absolutely. Allow me just one moment here.
Thanks.
And again, I would suggest, for brevity's sake, you can comment on the 3 conditions, as well as any other things you heard up that you can tell are concerns of HARC, because we've studied these drawings in detail.
For sure. No, I will try to touch on as many of these as possible as I present. Definitely the 3 conditions and then the others as well. Well, thank you all for allowing us to present this and having the continuance from the September date. As you can see from the first image and what you've seen on your desks, that essentially this was a total redesign. We heard all of the criticisms and considerations that we needed to take for the project site. And just to give a little bit, again, I will be quick, but just to give a little bit of background, just so we all understand. In the previous application, we did have a garage below grade coming off of Spruce. And we also pushed the massing all the way up to Galena, again, to try to create some sort of space in the back here. But that was also met with a little bit of pushback, obviously, and within the conditions that we weren't respecting the street front. So from that perspective, we realized that there was no way for us to actually appease and be able to fit the correct areas that we need, the rooms that we needed, the massing that we needed with the previous design. So instead, what we started to work with was beginning to site the building more generously towards the southeast side, allowing for the northwest side to be a little bit more open, and in hopes to step down towards both of the streets to allow for a more pedestrian-friendly view of the building. The other thing we did as well was, and you'll see in the site plan, was disconnecting and creating our secondary structure away from our primary structure. And again, therefore, stepping down towards both of the streets, creating a smaller scale frontage on both Galena and North Spruce, as well as allowing the street front to kind of create a little bit more dynamic quality to that front condition on the alleyway side. And again, shortening the building, this therefore shortens the building on the east to west direction, therefore to kind of reduce any larger wall that would be facing the neighboring sites. And then, of course, one of the larger discussion topics from the previous was to make sure that the human scale and the pedestrian scale was brought into the project. And we did this in this case, number one, through the elevations by reducing widths and reducing the amount of gables, but also introducing more mid-span roof articulations. There is one also on the backside here to help to reduce the visual mass and again, to step down towards the street. And the other thing is you can see in this image and in the articulated image, the improvement of the front porch to give a very much a direct relationship towards North Spruce, as opposed to anything obfuscating that view towards Galena or moving that hierarchy away from the Spruce address. Again, the frontal views of the project, trying to minimize the amount of impact, but also bring in the human scale. Still working with multiple materials. I'll talk about the materiality, which was in condition 1 in a few minutes. But again, starting to play with a little bit of the massing scale to make sure that it was at the correct pedestrian scale and allowing the building to fit much more into its context. And as you can see with the disconnect between the two roofs here, again, creating that kind of dynamic quality on both sides of the street. And then the last thing to just note on this image before we get into a few others is the fact that because of our site outside of the site boundary, within outside of the site boundary, there is a steep slope. So actually siting the building further south really helped to nestle the building in, and we could actually lower the ground floor level for this iteration so that the steps are only 2 here, as opposed to previously where they were around 4 or 5. And that way we could actually have the building feel much more settled into the existing conditions. Again, this is that frontal view. And just so we see it in a further context, even though this is an artist visualization, to kind of see the continuity, you can please try to ignore the buildings to the sides, which are much more rectilinear. We mostly focus on our adjacent projects, our adjacent buildings, and how it situates. So this is a view from St. Catharines looking catty cornered to the project itself. And again, that idea of the landscaping and playing with landscape and playing with the elevation change from the alleyway to allow for the building to be nestled into the site to be clearly at a reduced scale. And again, similar to what we had last time, playing with different rustication of the base and different materials to allow to break down that facade, whether it's the horizontal striping or the stacked stone at the podium or at the base in which everything sits on top. Now, the proposed front setback, again, we have, because of the way that it's set up, let me zoom in a little bit. I'm sorry for the rasterized hatch patterns here. But essentially, we have a 10-foot setback on the front here. And actually, this setback, which is here, is 13'6" to that front face. So majority of the face is actually set back 13'6", but we're arguing that the average setback for the site is at 11.5 or 11.75 or 11.65 feet, which is within the range of the block face, which right now currently stands at anywhere between 11.5 feet to 14.75 feet. Again, our average is around this, 12'6", or I'm sorry, the 11.6, which is within that ratio or that range. The other thing just to note, again, the 7-foot setback between the two, because we were asked to have the access into the garage off of the alleyway, one of the only solutions that we can come up with so that we could fit the amount of space was to disconnect the accessory structure as garage and allow that to be separate and pushed back towards the end of the site, and therefore trying to maximize as much as possible the distance between these two, but still allowing for the enough spaciousness within the building to actually allow Chris and his family to live comfortably. That's the 2/3 light. So these are the elevations. Again, the 7-foot setback is towards the back here. I actually thought that the call out for the 2/3 light was for the front. But to hear that it's for this back, if I zoom in here, this is actually a drawing mistake, and I apologize, and this will be fixed. This is in that blue square around here is where that light should sit. I've gone through and we have dimensioned out all of the lights just to make sure that everybody sees that they are within the 2/3, 1/3 rule. But these should be hatched gray, and the top of this is glass, where the bottom is actually a solid portion. So just so that is a drawing error, which will be fixed. But each one of the doors within the whole project has now been called out, whether it's the glazing of 2/3 and 1/3. And then the next condition, or actually the first condition was condition 1, cladding material. These sheets have been added to the set. Essentially, this is from Nakamoto Forestry, silver stain. It's called Gendai Weathering Silver, stained silver for this gray wood, and that's both for the horizontal and the vertical wood. So those spec sheets have actually been called out now within the set. The same with the torched wood, which is for the accessory structure. So anything that's located or called out as the vertical gray, whether it's wall type 1 or the others, which is the horizontal for the soffit conditions, that'll all be the same stained gray material. And then the last thing is actually, I'm going to switch really quickly, if you don't mind, just really quick to the drawing set, just to kind of show, this is the drawing set that should be on your desks, or has been given to you as the full set. Essentially, the lighting considerations, we do have a few of these smaller, very low watt, the 40 watt max lanterns that are situated in the front and rear. Again, more as accent lighting, not to illuminate, but more to just accent and add a little bit of warmth. And then of course we have all of our step lights, which are all called out and should be called out now for fully directed downwards. Above, for the second floor, there are no lights outside of any kind of step lights. We did incorporate a little bit of a step light at the base of a door, just to make sure, because it'll be a single step onto a balcony and so forth, just to give a little bit of illumination. But again, that's all going to be below the floor level. I think that's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you
Chris-
very much.
Chris Hawkins,
And-
do you have anything to add?
If I could
What-
just real quickly finish up. So the house next door, I don't have the finished grades obviously in the back. This just wasn't asked for. But if I average the height of the house to the south, it's about 23 feet in height. And if you add the 20%, that's around 27 feet in height. For that house, there is a 1-story house further down. And then on the corner of Columbia and Spruce, there's another 1.5-story house just like next door. Overall, it looks like it's about the same height. If you compare it to the Galena streetscape, which was, Alex showed in other meetings, most of the houses along Galena are 2 stories, including the house immediately to the east of the property. It's certainly shorter, as it should be, than the church across the street. And then the other thing I guess I just have ask you is to consider the space between the proposed house and the historic house and kind of the overall context of that intersection in Galena as you deliberate through that. So hopefully that's somewhat helpful as you think about the average height of that block face.
Thank you, Chris. Questions for the applicants?
I have a handful. Let me to start.
Yes.
I guess the first question is, have you produced a graphic showing setback study of the block or the vicinity that you could share?
That's those setbacks that he presented earlier in his presentation. I measured with a laser measuring device right at the property line.
Mm-hmm.
So those are pretty spot on setbacks for the 2 structures that are on the block face. And so if you need Alex to go back to that slide, we're glad to do it. But those 2 setbacks were for the 2 houses that you see in the streetscape plan, and the average that Alex presented is accurate.
But you don't have a graphic that shows it, correct?
No. What's the...
Okay. Then my next question is, if you go to sheet, this is minor, but I do want to bring it up, sheet A004.
Alex, do you want to share your screen and go to that sheet?
Mm-hmm.
If you zoom in to the southwest corner of the accessory structure, you've got pre-construction grade called out at 8786. But if you were to reference your survey, that point is actually lower than what you're calling out there by about 3+ inches. So I think that your accessory structure is anywhere from 2 to 3 inches too tall.
So
Again,
actually
really
we're
minor
using,
thing.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, so a minor thing, but I wanted to bring it up to you.
Of course. Am I allowed to respond or
Yeah,
should I wait?
go ahead. Yeah,
That's
that's
a
okay.
question.
Yep. Yep.
So actually, the pre-construction grade for the accessory structure is less stringent than the post. So we use the post for that application. And the reason is because the height difference, and it's kind of hard to see, maybe I should show it on the survey, but essentially the height difference between the alleyway to our site boundary is steeper, and then it evens out once you get to the other side of the rock wall. So we actually have to add landscape to lift up the accessory structure. So our post construction grade is more stringent, and we're matching that. So if you do pre-construction grade here, and within that, even within that 3 inches, you're still going to be, it's less stringent for the pre-construction. So our primary structure uses pre because that's more stringent, but our accessory structure is using post because that's more stringent.
The pre-building height is 14 feet, if I remember from looking at it today.
Correct. If we did pre, it would be actually, we could gain 2 feet, but we are using post because that's the more stringent.
So when looking at your drawings and measuring it, it looks like your pre-construction grade is actually the most stringent. It makes the lowest average grade, which is then what your height would be judged against.
Open up the elevation.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I don't want to dwell on this too much. I think the board will discuss and see if we want to make a condition or not. But this is something I just wanted to bring up to you so it doesn't,
of course,
catch you off guard.
No, understood. And I do have to just say, and again, we don't have to beat a dead horse here, but again, my pre-construction high is lower than my post-construction high. So that's why they're actually both within the 16 feet. Now, if it is the inch or two, then maybe if that's the case and we want to, and we can relook at that, then I can actually, we have a little bit, an inch or two of leeway. I can drop that roof an inch or two if we necessarily need to.
Yeah, I think we disagree here. I think you're calculating it wrong.
Understood. I can double check.
Go ahead, Matt.
Let's see. Give me a second here. Let me flip to my notes. Do you have any 3-dimensional views or a model that you could spin around that shows the sort of the back side of the house? And I'm most curious about understanding more of the massing of the accessory structure and the massing of I guess that would be the southeast corner of the primary. It looks like that southeast corner essentially has a 2-story bay that goes into the roof, and there's no roof overhang on the northern side of that, and it doesn't really show up very clearly in any of the elevation drawings.
Like this?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So if you can like select the roof of that accessory and kind of spin it around. So yeah, so what I'm looking at is what I'm gonna judge is the primary roof, although it's a little convoluted. That's really more of an applied trim piece as it wraps around, because that full footprint massing is extruded up past the roof on the south side of the accessory. That's correct.
You're talking about this portion here. This portion here still sits within, so that wall sits here. So our main roof structure sits here.
Yeah, so what I'm getting at is that the south side of that primary gable that we're seeing now, that is really just an applied piece because the footprint extrudes completely through it. Is that correct?
The footprint of that includes going through this portion of that. It goes
not,
to that
not,
face, correct?
Yeah, those are the same wall plane, right? It's not a inset dormer in any shape or form.
This in here it's set in just based off of, no, but it's coplanar with this face. So this whole face is planar.
Thank you. And can you turn your attention to the primary and that roof? So I just want you to spin around. I'm trying to understand that there's no overhang. Yep. Okay, right there. It looks like it's the eave is flush with the siding on that southeast corner.
The eave is flush with the siding on the southeast corner here. Well, so this was going to be, well, actually, we can extend this back up. But yes, this is basically how that is situated.
Okay. And then I think my final question is that these, it seems to me that this is just sort of a basic Revit model, and you haven't gotten to the detail of showing any detail on the eaves and any trim. Is your intention for that to be just a plumb cut plane with these 12, 14-inch trim boards, or are you planning on having any detail in the eaves?
Well, the way that it's shown is supposed to be a clean line. But at the same time, that is a detail that we need to work through to understand if there's going to be more breakdown. I think the diagrammatic reading of the edge right here is actually slightly problematic and probably could use a little bit more of a detail edge to that to break up that vertical face and feel a little bit less, let's say, contemporary and a little bit more fit within the neighborhood. So that vertical face could potentially be detailed.
Thank you. That's what I was wondering if you were doing. Okay, I think those are all my questions. Appreciate it.
Okay, other questions?
Thank you.
I don't have any additional questions.
Okay. Anything? I have just one before we lose you to, well, we'll go through public comment, and I don't know where this will go in deliberations, but I want you to have the chance to comment. With my question to John about, and Chris commented on the context of the neighborhood, again, HR 17C said, the new construction shall appear similar in mass and scale to the historic structures found historically in the neighborhood, not necessarily defining same street, cross the street, up the street. But again, as I found 5 one-story buildings in this neighborhood, or smaller buildings, and especially just right across the street facing it, it just looked out of context. My question is, if it came up, would you be able to, and I don't know your plate heights, et cetera, to lower that main gable up to 2 feet and still have decent ceilings, or is that problematic? Because it may come up. The height of the ridge.
No, I got you. 2 feet? The issue is actually not, well, the issue is going to end up being the pitch of the roof more so.
Yeah.
The head height I can actually lower slightly, but then I'm going to be up against the pitch of the roof. I don't want to take it. And again, if we think about contextuality, I think you would rather this roof form match the adjacent than it being, a 12-4 roof or anything close to that. You probably would want this to be closer in context in terms of shape. So if I go any lower than this, I might start losing that roof form that's right now I basically tried to take the same angles as the adjacent property, as you can see here.
Yeah, well, and I think the roof pitch needs to be similar, but we'll see what the board says, but
sure.
to the surrounding historic, but again, depending on your plate height, if you get 10-foot ceilings, seems like there's always a foot or so to find.
Sure.
And just wanted to give you a chance to comment before we
rule.
rule.
And just my last comment on that would be, if there needs to be some play in terms of, I don't know if I'd be able to get 2 feet, but I think there could be some play in terms of lowering that ceiling or the roof pitch to get it to fit within any discussion that you guys have.
All right, thank you, Alex. All right. Okay, any public comment on this project? Public comment, raise your hand electronically since there's none in the room. And Piper, I don't see anybody. Do you? Okay, so we'll start deliberations. So as we go around the table, John's conditions 1, 2, 3, just say if you approve or agree. And then Matt brought up an issue with trim and eaves to be, I think, more matching historic tradition. We have this issue of the setback from the street, and also the secondary structure, 7 feet versus 15. Maybe the height of the accessory needs to go down a couple inches, but that seems very non-controversial. And then this this last issue that I brought up on the height of the building. We have ruled consistently, on other projects that it is the context of the neighborhood, not just, it has to be less than 25 feet, which they are. So those are considerations. Go around the table. Karen, you want to start, or?
Well, since I wasn't here, the first one.
Oh,
from everybody else.
that's right. Okay. Well, let's start with whoever wants to start.
I can go ahead. I agree with the three conditions that are listed. I think we could lower the height, as you suggested, to bring it down a little closer into the context of the other buildings in the neighborhood. I know they're 1 story and 1.5 stories, and this is 2, but I think lowering that down even a foot would help. But you know, if you could do 2 feet, that'd be great. I don't really have any other issues. I think it's an amazing change from what we saw last time.
Yep, it was good progress.
I can jump in. So I think the primary thing I would like to chat about is the front setback, if it's appropriate, if we need to push it back further. I feel that, well, I mean, back up, I agree with John's conditions. I do feel that the 7-foot distance between the accessory and the primary is appropriate given the constraints of the site. I wasn't around for the first application, but from what I glanced at, this seems like a vast improvement and fairly close to an approvable project. I do think that some more detail trim needs to be applied to the roof. I don't think it has to be, you know, highly traditional, but breaking up that large fascia plane would be helpful. I do think it's a bit odd to not have any overhang on that small upper area, the southeast corner. I think I'm a little, I'm unsure about the garage or the accessory structure roof. It's a really convoluted design. It's not simple at all, but I think most of what the public will see is fine. I'm kind of curious if the other board has any concern with that or not.
Could you show the
an
3D
earlier
again? I'm sorry. Could you show the 3D again that you had, just so we can listen to what Matt's saying, or see what Matt's saying?
Of course.
If you spin that around, what I'm trying to point out is that essentially that shed roof in the back, there's no overhang. It's base is flush with the siding as is modeled. And again, it could be just a rough model, but it's a bit of an odd condition.
Mean that it's not truly a dormer? It's in the same wall plane as
I would say there's no overhang. There's no trim. There's not even, you know, just layers of trim coming up and giving a bit of shadow and relief.
on the
It's
on the side of the dormer? Is that what you're talking about? Or the
not
side?
the door. I'm talking about the primary structure. I'm talking about the southeast corner of the primary structure.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the garage. Southeast corner.
You got to spin it.
Yep, right there. That's what I'm talking about.
And what's your point there, Matt?
There's no overhang.
Oh, okay, the overhang. Yeah.
Ridge fascia, or whatever you want to call that, is it planar with the siding.
Could you turn it so you
spin it around? You might just.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Yep.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay, yeah. Again, minor, but did want to bring it up. And then the other thing I would say is I think we should make a condition to drop the height of the accessory structure by somewhere between 2 and 4 inches so that it's compliant.
Okay.
That's fine.
Let's just say 4 inches. Okay.
Well, I'd like to, I can't say it. I think, sorry.
Oh, Matt, you decide.
And Mark, Mark, I do agree that as you suggested, and I think Bob agreed with it, the height of the primary could be dropped. Looks like the 4-to-4 height is 10.5 feet on the ground level. So I would.
Wow.
Most projects don't have that luxury, so there's a bit to absorb there. I I'd rather them take the height out of that than to lower the upper level too much, because what I think typically happens is the roof slope ends up getting lowered, and this is a very attractive, appropriate roof slope that they have right now.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Andrew, comment?
Yep. I'll chime in if Matt is finished. So
I
I do
am.
agree with John's, thank you, with John's three conditions, with you, Mark, and I guess everyone else has spoken on lowering the overall height of the primary, Matt's 2 to 4 inches drop on the accessory. One thing that stands out to me is when you're standing on that corner of Galena and Spruce, and you're looking at the corner of this house, I mean, the mass and scale of the roof of this patio seems very large. And even though he has taken the home and sunk it down, I feel like that's bringing it just a little bit above eye level. And also it's, it hangs off a significant amount on the north end too. And, when I just look at this, and there's that additional protruding aspect of it, going up into the center of the house right over the entryway. And it just seems like a lot of roofing to me. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that.
Can you show that for
Can
us,
you guys,
Alex?
It just seems like, I mean, when I look at this neighborhood, because Mark, I'm with you, I walk this a couple times a week. I just don't recall seeing any patios that with this large of coverage over it in the neighborhood.
Well, I agree.
can I get the applicant to bring up the first sheet A000 and zoom into the snowy drawing? I think that gives a good perspective on the roof.
That'd be good, Alex.
Yeah, that bottom right.
There you go. And that appendage that goes from the front door up to the building, that is odd.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Mark. That along with the size, some of these roofs that cover the porches cover small portions. They don't necessarily, I mean, this goes the entire width of the front of the home and takes a turn and goes back to the east on the northern side of the home. And I just feel like that is a significant amount of coverage for a patio.
Since the applicant
I-
didn't have
I
a
think-
chance to comment, I'd just like to ask them this functional question. Alex, what's the purpose of this in the center of this sloping roof going up adjacent to the house near that door? Was there some functional purpose for that?
We have a staircase directly below that, and if we remove it, I lose head height for the main circulation.
Oh.
We've squeezed the plan so much right now that I'm up against, I have no place to put vertical circulation, and it needs to go into
Okay.
that small zone.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
I don't have that much issue with the area that they're covering for the stair, because I think from most vantage points you'll probably see it, but it won't be in your face. But I do think Drufer makes a great point about the width of this porch and the roof, and looking at this image, seems like the southern side of this roof could move in so that it's not wall to wall or sort of extent to extent, and bring the porch in a bit. I think would help provide some relief. And then on the northern side, as Drufer said, that roof extends all the way to the siding face, and we've often required that decks, step in from the corners. So that would be a condition where if that roof stepped back in to the south another foot, that would, I think, help alleviate some of the things that Drufer's noticing.
That sounds good.
I'm sorry if I'm just want to make sure and clarify, if from understanding that comment, it's this corner here circled in red and this corner here circled in red, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get into, I think everybody's, well, Karen, you've heard all this now.
Yeah, no, I've heard it all. And, several of the things that I flagged, particularly the roof forms. A lot of them look a little non-traditional, whether that's the detailing, trim detailing, or the way the porch or patio overhang, the size of it, that seemed a little out of scale with traditional. And then the other thing was I definitely thought it could be the primary gable could be, or that module could be
Lower.
lower.
Okay.
Just because I do think it just kind of really kind of sticks out like a sore thumb.
Okay. So I have a question for the board. I concur on this roof subject that we're on right now. I concur with maybe stepping that in a foot on the north side. But I don't know if there's anything that would support bringing in the roof not running to the edge of that building, you know, to the south as it goes, that narrow section goes to the right or to the south there. I'm gonna leave it up to the architects to decide what, you know, with respect to respecting tradition. I don't know that shortening it, and where would you shorten it to? The middle of the building? I mean, I don't think we could deny them, you know, running.
Alex, could you do the front elevation?
Yeah, I tried, to be honest with the board. I mean, I know it's not really a conversation, but I did try that. It is off a slight bit. The more you pull it off, the more weird it's gonna look. That's just my 2 cents.
Okay, I know we're not supposed to have dialogue, so we.
Sorry.
Okay, but, well, that's my question. It seems like it's gonna look, what are you gonna do? I'm looking for the architects to tell me what they're seeing.
I think if you pulled in the north one about the same amount as he did on the south side,
All right,
it would look more symmetrical and more fitting there. Yeah.
okay. Are we all okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, Kieran says yes.
Yeah.
I see. All right. So, Andrew?
No, I agree with that. And I think a lot of it is, like I said, when you're standing on Galena, looking at that, you're just capturing a lot of the mass of the roof right there on that the northern elevation part of the house.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so I've written down what we have, 1 through 3. What about the accessory structure? Does everybody concur with Matt that 7 foot's okay versus what's required is the 15?
And give
Constraints?
given the site constraints, I think that's workable.
I
I'm
do.
okay.
Agree.
Karen's okay. Okay, so what I think are the remaining issues, the accessory building height needs to go down 3 to 4 inches, whatever. Matt, you decide. Then the southeast corner, extend the overhang on the main primary structure. Lower the main gable of the house, highest point, up to 2 feet. I was gonna say, made a note here, as close to 2 feet as practicable with the same roof slope. We don't want to change the slope, but 10'6" on the first floor. I mean, there's easily a foot there, and there must be something else somewhere. But and then the trim, yeah, we got the southeast overhang, and then the general comment, Matt, of matching the eaves and trim to more historic tradition. How would you like to word that?
I think you can refer to policy 22 architectural details. Architectural details should be similar in scale and reflect the simple character of those seen historically.
Okay. And just for expediting, well, unless somebody wants to make motion, I can dive in, and then Matt, would you add that language and that reference to as a friendly amendment?
I can. I do want to circle back to the front yard setback. Does anyone other than me have a concern that it's, in John's application, I think he said that 13 was the average of the block, and the numbers the applicant gave were different, but they didn't provide any graphics to explain those numbers. And Mark, you're talking about its mass and scale and its presence to the broadly 1-story neighbors around it. I don't think that this project needs to be a 1-story project, but pushing it farther off the street would help reduce its presence.
I could get on board with some movement. How does everybody else feel?
I don't think it's necessary, frankly.
Okay,
I'm okay with it.
okay,
I
so,
agree
all
with Kernan.
right, well, that's the end. Well, because we only have 4. Okay,
We have 5.
sorry,
We have 5.
Matt.
That's okay.
Oh, no, wait.
That's
Oh,
fine.
no,
I'm-
Andrew,
I'm
you're the
asking
tiebreaker.
questions.
Andrew, you're the tiebreaker on
I
the
mean,
setback.
we meet in the middle
Little where?
of the setback.
Which would then be what?
12, 2.5, so 12 or 12 and a half.
I could go with 12 feet.
Okay.
I don't think we should go further.
No, I mean, I don't either, but I mean, I think Matt does have a good point.
Okay, Bob, you okay?
Yep.
Kieran said no change.
I'm not gonna vote no for the project, but yeah.
Minimum 2 foot, 10, 12-foot setback. And that is well, that's per the land use code.
It's per the
please-
land use code, but it's also a mass and scale concern.
Yeah,
So you
okay.
can reference land use code and you can reference mass
Nine
and scale.
guidelines 17, mass and scale. Okay. All right, you want me to try to put something together and then you guys help me with a friendly amendment and we'll go on?
Yeah, I'll give you
Sounds
my
good.
last paycheck if you do that.
Sorry?
I said I'd give you my last paycheck if you do that.
Oh my God. Well, we didn't get them yet. I think the town is late.
We can discuss that later.
I move to approve the small scale new construction 234 North Spruce Street based on the memo dated November 19, 2025 with the following conditions. 1, 2, and 3 is written. Number 4. Okay, number 4 would be lower the height of the tallest gables as close to 2 foot lower as practicable with the same roof slope per HR 17C. 5, lower the height of the accessory building 3 to 4 inches per HR 17C. You can see 6, on the southeast corner of the main primary structure, extend the eave overhang to mimic more traditional historic design. And that is per 22 construction, HR 22. And maybe others, but that's enough. And then increase the setback from the street to 12 feet. Per land use code and design guidelines, HR 17, mass and scale. And then I didn't do the trim piece yet, but let me say, this motion is based on evidence testimony provided public hearing held on November 19, 2025, with no such hearing provided as required by the Telluride Land Use Code, the rest as written. Do we have a number 6?
Number 8.
Oh, geez. Yeah, thank you.
I have 2 that I could add.
Okay.
Provide, are you ready for me to go?
Yes, go ahead. I know I forgot to.
Provide more articulation to the roof eave trim per policy 22 architectural details. And then the other one was about the porch roof overhang on the north side. I'm not sure how you want to condition that.
Well, you could just say set back the north porch roof 1 foot.
To match the setback on the south side.
I think that says it all. Do we want to quote a condition here besides mass and scale?
So we've got a couple of people
Three people. That was a three-person.
saying
condition.
condition number 9, so one person, please.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
reread it. Oh,
Thank
no, well,
you.
Matt's doing the amendment, so Matt, you do the revision.
I didn't write that down, what you
All
guys
right,
were saying.
I'll
so
go,
let
I'll go
you-
ahead and just restate it for three people on one condition. Setback the north end of the porch roof equal to the setback from the side of the house on the south end of that same porch. Or I'm just gonna say HR 17, Madison scale. Now, do we have it all?
Everything I wrote down.
Okay,
Yes,
okay. Kieran,
I will second.
then let's vote.
Kieran, yes.
Matt, yes.
Mark, yes.
Bob, yes.
Andrew, yes.
It's unanimous. Good luck, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Then we have one more complete hearing and then a continuance. So we'll close out here with the corn
Thank you.
resident.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep. The corn residents at 566 West Columbia is consideration of application for a small scale addition to existing buildings that will increase the structure's floor area by more than 25% and result in a building that will contain more than 1,000 square feet, but less than 2,500 square feet per land use code 7203A1B3. It's a small scale repositioning of a designated THS primary structure per land use code 7203A3B4. And C, it's a minor scale alteration or raised structure that does not increase its floor area per 7203A3C2. And finally, an insubstantial scale addition to existing building, which will increase a structure's floor area by less than 10% per land use code 7203A3D4. Its legal description is lot 24A, block 9 west, Telluride accommodations to replat recorded 1/31/23 AT 479838 at 566 West Columbia Avenue. It's in the historic residential district. Owner David Korn, ATE, and Korn Kristen, METE, Korn David and Kristen Family Trust as JT. Shift Architects is the applicant and staff member Darren Candelaria.
Alrighty, thank you, Mark. So this is for the consideration of a small scale application for 566 West Columbia. 566 West Columbia is in the historic residential zone district and treatment area within the THLD. This property is located on the south side of West Columbia Avenue. On the property, there is established landscaping and several large cottonwood trees and 2 historic structures, a primary and a secondary, both rated as contributing. This property holds incredible historic significance, displaying an overall high standard of integrity. This property is individually eligible for the National Register of Historic Places. The project proposes raising the existing historic structure to allow for a basement and new foundation, demolition of the historic primary's front porch and south elevation, including the rear extension, new construction of a 2-story addition to the primary and alteration to the secondary to allow for enclosed parking. Condition number 1 is to significantly revise the proposed addition and connector to be subordinate to the historic structures. The proposed addition overpowers the historic contributing structures in height, width, scale, and massing. The addition stands significantly proud of the primary historic structure's east and west wall planes. Additionally, the proposed 2-story connector dramatically increases the structure's loss of historic material. Conditions 2 through 6 all involve the preservation of the historic structures, with more information needed on the proposed treatments, repairs, and the current condition of the remaining historic material. More information is needed on the primary structure's north and south facades, condition of the wood siding, and the need to raise the historic structure. These conditions are to ensure sensitive treatment of the historic structures and retention of as much historic material as possible. Condition Conditions 7 and 8 involve the proposed addition and alterations to the historic secondary structure. The proposed alterations include several new openings with the addition of a deck connecting to the primary structure. These alterations create a more residential appearance, which is not appropriate for a historic alley structure. Condition number 9 is to retain the established cottonwood trees. 4 large, mature cottonwood trees are proposed for removal. They should be retained because they are a part of the historic landscape of the site and help to define the original sense of place. The remaining conditions involve more information or minor changes needed. Condition number 10 is to revise windows to have vertical emphasis without significantly enlarging glazing. Condition 11 is to provide a site drainage plan. Condition 12 is to revise the proposed lighting fixtures to a single bulb. And condition 13 is to provide bicycle storage. Staff recommendation. Staff are greatly concerned with the compatibility of the addition and the remodel of the historic structures. This property requires a high level of preservation and attention to detail to maintain such a significant level of integrity. The proposed work does not comply with multiple design guidelines, many falling under the rehabilitation and restoration standards. Therefore, staff recommend continuing the application. So some amendments were made to the proposed motion after publication. This includes a continuation date to January 21st, 2026, as well as the property's address. I have submitted an amendment motion for the record, as well as handed out a copy of the amendment motion to the commission members. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Darren? I have none.
Nope.
Online?
Nope.
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 Okay, very detailed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's hear from the applicant and go ahead and share your screen. Welcome.
Hi there, Chris Perpar with Shift Architects. Oh, I guess you don't need to. Oh, you want to see my video? Okay, let me share my screen. Let's see. Here we go. So I'll just start in the beginning and how we came to doing an addition off the back. And along with, we'll just move all the way from Colorado back to the alley, if that's okay. So we have met with staff on site and requested and asked if they would agree with the 12-inch raise. And the reason being is this house currently sits in a hole.
Chris, sorry to interrupt. Were you planning to share your screen because we're not seeing it?
It's not working? Hold on. How's that?
Still you.
Still.
Oh, here it
There we
comes.
go.
Sorry. Anyway, this has been, we've discussed this over many projects on West Columbia, that the sidewalk and the road has been increased over the years. We have a 2-foot drop currently from the sidewalk to the first level of the historical house. And so in requesting a 12-inch raise, we felt that this was not overdoing it. I don't know how many of you remember, but this house at 560 West Columbia was raised 3.5 feet. And that was also a contributing structure. Let me get to the photos. And here, so if you look on the right, this is a historical photo of the house, as you can see, not in a ditch. It's somewhat flat all the way to the front door from the sidewalk. I think requesting any higher than 12 inches would be the same mistake that we made over at 560 West Columbia. Okay. As for items with the bicycle and all the restoration, I just want to comment that we will work with staff on a restoration plan. This gets a little different. This is our current siding here, and over 50% of it is completely rotted out. The windows are not fixable. But I think if we're going to the January meeting, we can meet over there and come up with a plan. The builder has huge concerns about how to rebuild, especially this west facade. And I'll go back quickly to the survey, and you can see this whole wall here is bowed out by almost 8 inches. And needs to be rebuilt. So we can work with staff and have a formal write-up for the next meeting. Next, we will talk about these trees. These are the 4 trees in question. They've been, completely hacked over the years. I didn't realize we were trying to save cottonwood trees because I thought they were in part of the weed family. But recently, 2 things. These 2 trees, this construction cannot exist without removing of these 2 trees. Can you guys see the pictures?
No, just the survey.
Sorry.
Can you use the pointer or?
Nope, I got pictures for you. How's that? Sorry, these are the 4 trees in question.
Oh.
These 2 here will not make it through any sort of construction. The site, these trees, and this historical house have been dilapidated and unmaintained for a very long time.
So you can save 2 of the 4? Is that what you're saying?
These 2 could be, but as you can see where this red circle is here, every time we have a windstorm, this is what happens. So instead of saying to save 2 or 4, I think for sure that the 2 on the east would need to be removed, and maybe we have an arborist look at the remaining 2. Okay. Sorry, I'm usually running 3 computers and I'm on 1, so bear with me as I'm sharing my screen around. Okay, and then here we removed the front porch along with the front roof. Again, all these pictures indicate here that there was not one as late as the 1920s. Reservation. All right, so I'm just gonna. Okay. So our approach to this entire project was to essentially not touch the historical, leaving everything of the addition in the far back. So we have, this is a 14-foot wide structure. And if you look at the plans, it's almost impossible to get a stairwell up there. This is at 5'6" plate height. So we had to lower this upper level by 12 inches just in order to meet code within the historical structure. I'm assuming you can see the 3D now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. This connector is hidden. I think the only person that will see it are the 2 neighboring properties. We dropped this down from this historical. This is shown as the 12-inch raise. And then we essentially put the addition on the back here. A mass and scale. So we have an 8-foot ceiling on the main level throughout the entire project. And this up here is 8'10", and talking to the owner, we could probably take that down almost a foot and still have habitable space in the back.
How much higher is it now than the primary historic residence? The
Where-
addition gable?
Hold on 1 second. 86, 5, just 2 feet? Is that right? Yeah.
Looks more than that in the model.
We got 86.5 to 89, so almost 3 feet.
And you could take it down how far?
12 inches and still have just an 8-foot plate height up here.
Okay, while you're on that picture, how far is this addition from the street?
Let me go to our site plan real fast. We're 21 and 36.
54, okay.
Yeah. Over 54 feet?
21 and 36, yeah, 57 feet, okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Again, just trying to retain the west side of this yard. And then we came back and we added a small deck. This is our public space up here so that we can incorporate some views. This space back here has, we have, Corey's two-story structure here, and then on the other side, we have the 2-story at 560. And so this essentially is the only access for views from the property. This historical structure here, all of this exists other than this little portion back here. And so this is where we added the garage. This portion here is not historic. So any of the changes were only done to the non-historic portions of that existing building. That building was remodeled and has a full foundation already. And so you can see it's all our shed funkiness. And then from this upper deck, we access down, again, not seen from anywhere, into the upper portion of this unit as part of the main structure. And so our separation here is the 6'7" that we're showing on the plan. And then the preservation bike and all that stuff will be, I think, dealt with on staff before we come back in January.
Hey, Chris, I've got a quick question while you're spinning around the model. So you've got on the addition, you've got this upper gable element, sort of a dormer on both sides. I understand kind of what's happening on the south side, trying to get some windows up high and that sort of gable face. Could you walk us through the rationale for having that kind of be a cross gable and continuing through the house versus just having that as being a dormer on the south side of the addition?
This one right here?
Yeah, so your gable that runs north-south.
Yep, and then somewhat of a hip roof. Yeah, so we were just trying to take away from this elevation. The shed at a 412 didn't work out so well. It may now that we are able to take maybe 12 inches out to make that work up there, but the 412 didn't work. And so it was just really, we mimicked the historical here and then just tried to make this elevation, which as Mark pointed out is 50 feet in the background. So it ended up just being a height issue with minimum roof pitches right at our 412.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Sorry, hey, Chris, I have a question. You said the historic structure is 14 feet wide, correct?
Yeah.
Do you know, which is super narrow, do you know the width of the secondary structure? And then in addition, how much that the shed protrudes beyond that, if you're looking at it from the north elevation, from the street?
So
Yep, just so the width of the structure
width of the full, this, hold on, let me go
of
to
the addition.
Yep. Um, 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 28.1 to the
28.
outside of foundation.
Okay.
Twice the width.
Okay, and then also my second question was, do you know how far, like the screen that you're showing right now, the shed roof, how much further out does that protrude from the secondary structure?
The porch roof you're talking about?
Yeah,
The one that's the brown.
Oh, way in the
the,
back.
On the left.
oh, from,
Or was that part of your calculation of the 28.1?
no, the 28 here is the primary,
Correct.
and then this is on the property line, so and we have a 4'6" setback. Let me share this. I just want to make sure I'm on the. So you're talking back here.
Yes, correct.
Yep. Yeah, so here's our 3-foot setback. And I don't have it dimensioned, but it looks like probably 4'6". Maybe this is 18 inches, but that secondary structure goes all the way to the property line.
All right, so you're guessing maybe close to 4.6 that it
Yeah.
protrudes out from the secondary structure. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Other questions?
Yeah, I got a quick one. Just a minor point, I think, but the secondary structure, the piece that is within the setback, has that been determined that that is historic? That little shed roof thing that, I think the stair used to be in it, or in the original building.
In the secondary structure?
Yeah, that piece that's in the setback up at the top,
Uh-huh.
is that?
Oh, I think that was added. Hold on, let me go back to Chris's analysis so you can see. Oh, there it was.
Yeah. I don't.
So the green is indicating what was historic in these times.
Ah. So everything else there that's in gray is new.
Mm-hmm.
Er.
Newer, that's correct. And this right here is where we're showing kind of to have garage access.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I don't know what year this renovation, offhand, when that was done.
Yeah, I don't either. It doesn't show up on anything on the Sanborns and
No, and over here, there once was a bigger structure that went over the property line.
mhm.
And then here's this, you know, shown, and then it got smaller, and then this is the latest renovation.
Mhm. Yeah, it was quite large in the photograph on the right,
Yeah,
almost as big as the house.
yep, 2-story. And there was a little shed over here, but it's not shown as the historical portion.
Yeah. Okay. And I think you hit on the other point I had. This is my notes from before about the front porch, that it appears like it never was there historically.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Any more?
Chris, any chance you've got any eye level, pedestrian level 3D views from the street looking at the project? That I mentioned that because the model you're showing so far without the context, it kind of does a disservice to.
Yeah, this is just kind of a rough, kind of a street view here. And I think this is misleading because this is, this entire area here with the vertical siding is so far back. And I would love to say that if we saved the 2 cottonwood trees, they would help camouflage that, but they have been taken up higher than the historical house. So they're just trunks at that level.
I would, and you know this, but I would suggest that when you come back to us, that if you craft some views from the street looking at both of these broad sides of the addition, I think they will feel more compliant once you add the depth in as far as how back they are. So I would encourage
And
you
we
to
can do
when
that
you bring it
into
back to
this,
us.
this 3D model, we can just put quick blocking in at the height.
Yeah, I think it would help your cause.
Because I don't even remember where we've had a 2-to-1 as far as being subordinate, the width of the historic house versus the width. So as well as the height issue, but we'll take that up in deliberations. But that would help, seeing a 3D model, and that's why I ask. It's 57 feet. We give some leniency when you're 57, 60 feet
Yeah,
up.
and I think it's important to essentially leave this historic, with no appendages on it's a special site, and everything else is so far back and will be unread as we're seeing it, I think, in plan.
Okay, anything else, Chris?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. So
David Cornzon, do you have anything?
Go ahead and unmute, Dave, if you have something you want to add.
You don't have to speak if you don't want to.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
The only thing I would add, just related to the cottonwood trees, and I think Chris, as you were talking, one of the points you made is that we're probably the first homeowners that have put time and effort into trying to properly prune those trees and, keep them alive in some ways. And despite our efforts, there's been some very large branches that have come down even this year that I would describe as, roof killers or pretty dangerous limbs coming down. And so there was another photo that I think Chris had that, kind of illustrates that point. But they're massive old trees, right? So I just hope folks kind of take that into consideration.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any public comment?
What address is this?
Could you please go to a microphone?
Yeah, go ahead, Dave, to microphone. This is 566 West Columbia. A long ways.
Sorry.
Dave Peterson. Do you have anything to say? West Columbia?
Just that question.
Oh, okay. Good. Okay. Well, we'll start deliberations. We have 13 conditions. I didn't hear in our questions anything new, but I would suggest that we talk about all, I mean, tell us your opinion on all of them, but we didn't really discuss this utilitarian deck on the second floor, which we have had some examples of that, like 225 North Fur, which I walked by today, and then the width and height of the addition and the raising of the structure, which is in a hole, and that was the reason for it, which might show off the historic structure better. But we've been here before in Colorado, on Colorado Avenue, where we've also raised structures. But I'd like to hear everybody's input on those and all 13 if you have them. So let's just go down the line and
Sure.
Karen.
Yeah, I don't think I could agree with 1 through 13 more emphatically without giving myself whiplash. In terms of like nodding, yeah, whatever. That didn't hit.
Okay.
But I don't know that there's a ton else to add or discuss. If you take these 13 conditions, to me, it's just too big. It's just, and I know it's going to be set back, 50 some odd feet from the street, but not from the structure itself.
Yeah.
And so it's going to feel, I think, overpowering. And so and then there are concerns also with the rehabilitation standards and all the things that Darren marked with red no. Those are things that just need to be addressed before we hammer this too hard,
Okay.
And I would say we can hang this motion in a museum. That's how strongly I agree with it.
Oh. Well, we better get it right then. Okay.
It's a difference to me, right?
Okay, who wants to go next?
I have, if you want, I had just a couple of minor things to add to the motion. I think this is great. I think she did a great job. I would just like to say on number 1, it says by reducing the height, it should say reducing the height and the width.
Yeah.
And on number 8, it says eliminate the deck and connection. I would say eliminate the deck, the dormer, and the connection. And I would add 14 to provide a streetscape. And call it a day. Oh, and just a correction on number 1 where it says RE number 19. It says B1, 4, and 5, and it says C1, 4, and 5. There is no C5, just for clarification.
Okay. Next.
Bob, I can go next. Bob, will you clarify what condition you talked about a deck?
On number
What is
8,
that?
it says eliminate the
Number 8.
deck and connection to the primary structure. It has a dormer over that. That if you take the deck away, you don't need to have a door there, and you don't need the dormer.
Okay. Is your concern primarily the fact that they connect, or I'm just wondering if having a deck off of the addition would help sort of break up the mass and scale a bit, even if it doesn't connect to the historic accessory structure.
I agree with you. That's a good point. I think the deck could stay and just eliminate the dormer and the connector.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. I want to jump in here. I just kind of want to talk about some things I think would help this project. I agree with Bob's comments, his revisions to Darren's 1 through 13. I would strike number 9. Those cottonwoods don't look healthy. They look like widowmakers. I understand and appreciate Darren adding that in, but I do think in this case they, at least the 2 closest to the house, if not all 4, should be removed. I would encourage Chris to get a letter from an arborist to tell us about the health of the trees. To me, the primary, and I think looks like there's maybe cart before the horse kind of things with the historic preservation plan, and that's a lot of these conditions that Chris needs to spend some time on that. But to me, the primary issue is the width of the addition. And out of the width, it's really the western side that's maybe the most troublesome. So I think by lowering the overall gable roof, which he's already offered up, I think that'll help tremendously. While I appreciate the little cross gable piece that sort of mimics the historic house, I do think if that was eliminated on the northern side, that would help the scale of the historic not have to step as far up to the new addition. I don't know quite what she would do, but if there was a way to break up the mass of the western side of the addition further, perhaps the ground level actually grows and the upper level steps back. So there's just more articulation instead of just a simple kind of square mass that might help step the edges of that structure down to the adjacent properties. Hearing her mention that there are some non-historic parts to the accessory structure, the old barn, perhaps some of those non-historic pieces could be carved off, especially the pieces that extrude over the setbacks, and then that would give her more site coverage and square footage to be able to spread out or kind of adjust the addition a bit. But I think as much as she can to play down the width of that would be helpful. And I do think that 3D views, perspective, eye level from the street will make this project feel more compliant than the modeling that we've seen. So kind of in summary, these are just some thoughts. I'm not going to add any new conditions. I agree with what Bob said, other than I would recommend to strike number 9 about the cottonwood trees.
Hey, Matt, just to consolidate things, what if number 9 read that save 2 of the 4 cottonwood trees on the west side, subject to arborist review, and then we've got a letter that said they can't make it, or no, they could, or do you just want to?
I agree.
Okay.
Nope, I agree. That makes sense.
It's
Yeah.
kind of we've done that before, kind of a middle ground, and
Yeah.
I'm sensitive to the neighbors' comments where they keep trimming trees and limbs fall, but I think this board better not try to be the tree expert.
True. Agreed.
Kieran like that.
Yeah. Can we go back to the addition?
Yes.
I think I understand what Matt is saying about it, but I just would encourage that it's still, it's a simple mass. It's too big, yes, but I'm not sure that articulating it more would make sense with this very simple historic house in the front. I'd keep it as simple as possible.
Could I add something real quick here? This really sounds like it's taken the shape of a work session more than anything at this point, and it probably could have benefited from one. That's all I would add.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope they take our comments at this point to heart and get on the mark on the next one. And I would just say I concur with Bob on the width, and then Andrew, you weigh in. 2x is in a 3D rendering isn't going to help me with 2x, 28 feet versus 14. I've just never seen it. And that's going to interfere with the program and some square footage, but that's what it is. And on the height, I'd like to see it up to 2 feet, but I mean, we've all been in, they said they could take a foot, but have 8 foot plate height. But I've seen houses at 5 and 6 foot end wall plate heights and these things. So not trying to be extremist, because it is 57 feet back, but I think it should be 2 foot lower. And then I want to take a straw poll on the 1 foot raising. I mean, we've done it for various reasons, not all the time, but straw poll real quick. Kieran, no, correct?
That's usually the case, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, yes. Bob, Matt,
I don't have a problem with it. Because it's down in a hole, you'll hardly notice it.
I would allow it.
Andrew?
I would allow it too. I mean, I think one of our biggest goals is to be consistent and, we provided this, for the yarn store on, Colorado just a few months ago, but only the amount that's necessary.
Okay. And then Andrew, why don't you, and the last comment I had was on number 8, this utilitarian deck. We have done it before, but maybe, excuse me, the connector, I guess. Everybody said we're okay with a deck. It's just the connector, that's the problem. I'm just asking that as a question.
Yes.
All right. I mean, we've had connectors, 225 North Fur, but was the last one, but it's rare.
Just to go on the record, I would support leaving the condition as is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Andrew.
Yep. So I think Matt and Bob both brought up some very compelling points. But this is, I agree completely with staff's conditions, and this is going to look so different by the time they change it up. So I don't think there's any point in getting in here and whittling down at some of these minor things, because it's going to just be completely different when we see it again.
Okay.
Totally agree.
So my notes are on number 1, we're going to add width and height. And we're going to scratch 3. And we're going to leave the rest the same, except on number 8, we're going to add the word deck, dormer, and connection. Is that what I heard?
Eliminate the dormer and connection.
Dormer. Oh, okay, the dormer and connection. And then 14 is provide a streetscape. Anything else?
You talked about
Number
the
9.
trees.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay, number 9 per arborist. Okay. Who wants to do this?
Well, if we could get the wording for 9, I could do it.
I was going to say, Bob, on 9, my suggestion was preserve 2 of the 4 trees on the west side, subject to arborist report on their health.
2 of the trees on the west side of the 4.
Subject to arborist report on their health.
To arborist report on their health. Okay, I can give that a shot.
Okay.
Everybody okay? Everything else? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I move to continue the proposed small scale. Oops, I got the wrong one here. I wrote it on the old one. I move to continue to the January 21st, 2026 HARC meeting, the small scale application 566 West Columbia, based on the findings in the staff memo dated November 19th, 2025, with the following conditions. 1, to be revised to add the word width and before the word height on the first line. So it would say significantly revise the proposed additions and connector to be subordinate by reducing the width, height, and stepping down the structure as written. 2, stays 3 deleted. 4 through 7 as written. 8 revised to say eliminate the dormer and connection. Eliminate the word deck. 9, preserve.
Needs to read all of number 8.
Sorry, you want to read all number 8 as a complete sentence, Bob? Real quick.
Okay. Eliminate the dormer and connection to the primary structure to maintain a utilitarian appearance and division between the structures per AS number 4, intro, and A.2.
Thank you. And then 9.
Okay, preserve the 2 western trees in the front yard, subject to an arborist review on the health of those trees. That makes sense?
Yes.
And then add 14, provide a streetscape. This motion is based on evidence and testimony provided at a public hearing held on November 19th, with notice of such hearing provided as required by the Telluride Land Use Code.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Piper, are you clear on all of that? Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
What?
Just checking with Piper to make sure she was clear on the motion.
We're good.
And we don't need to do the revised plans at the
Yeah,
bottom.
no.
No.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
How do we vote?
Kieran, yes.
Matt, yes.
Mark, yes.
Bob, yes.
Andrew, yes.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, we need a motion for continuance without discussion, but I'll describe it as 116th East Columbia Remodel Edition. Consider an application for a small scale demo of a non-rated THS secondary structure inside the THLD per land use code 7203A36B in substantial scale addition to existing buildings, which will increase floor area by less than 10% per 7203A3D4, and C, in substantial scale alteration of a non-designated or non-rated structure does not increase the floor area per land use code 7203A3D5. Legal description: east 25 feet of lots 2, 4, 6, and 8 in block 7 at 116 East Columbia Historic Residential District. Its owner is Drift Mine LLC and AZLL. It is applicant was Shift Architects and staff member was Darren, and we just asked for a motion to continue to the 12/17 meeting.
All right, I got you. I move to continue the 116 East Columbia Remodel Edition project to the December 17th, 2025 HARC meeting.
Second, anybody?
I'll second that.
Kieran, yes.
Matt, yes.
Mark, yes.
Bob, yes.
Andrew, yes.
Okay, it's unanimous. Board and staff discussion.
Can we take a 2-minute break, please?
Okay, we're almost done, but 2
I
minutes,
know.
yes.
Old man, you know.
Board and staff discussion. Kristen.
Sure. So first, I had included in your packet the draft HARC meeting schedule for 2026. It worked out nicely that the third Wednesday didn't conflict with anything important holidays, anything like that. So unless anyone has any reservations with those third Wednesday dates consistently throughout, then I'm just looking for an approval.
You want a motion, just show of hands?
A show of hands is fine,
All right.
but just so we have that.
Kieran, how do you vote?
Makes absolutely no difference to me.
This is your last vote. How ironic.
I'm good with it.
You approve the schedule? Matt?
I don't think I'll be able to make the March meeting, but I don't necessarily want to ask you guys to change it. So I'll approve.
I'm good.
All right, thumbs up. I'm okay. All right, so be it. It's well, do we have a, it's so moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, I guess.
Okay.
I made the motion.
Mark?
Okay.
Mark made the motion and then Kieran seconded. How do you vote?
Sure.
Matt, yes.
Mark, yes.
Bob, yes.
Andrew, yes.
I think you gotta be here, guys, for this to see the humor. What else, Kristen?
All right, so just really quickly, just to loop you in, and then there'll be follow-up. So I'm just going to do this very briefly. Based on our meeting this morning, Mark just I streamlined this very much. But then I will also follow up with you after this meeting as a HARC board. So let me just start from the beginning. So I am working to prepare a presentation to town council, which will take place next Wednesday on the HARC annual report, which, as you all know, we always present to town council. And so I wanted to bring it to you first for your affirmation. And so what I'm doing now is just quickly giving you the high level, what the contents are without getting into depth. And then per Mark's good suggestion, I'm going to email you tomorrow the draft of what will be provided to town council. And should you have any concerns or questions or things I missed that didn't come up during this conversation, which will be brief, I would welcome your input, and I'll give you a deadline, just so that I can have that presentation finalized in time for Wednesday. So next Wednesday. So as you know, per the land use code, HARC's required to submit an annual report to town council for their approval. The report's intended to summarize HARC's decisions and activities in the preceding year and to provide an analysis of historic preservation design issues that have arisen. Looking back at past reports, they're running from August 1st to July 31st. I'm not sure what the reasoning is for that versus an annual report on a calendar year basis, but I'm being consistent this year, and then perhaps we can revisit that next year to decide if we want to switch to a calendar year, which I think would be more helpful as we evaluate over time. So in any event, consistent this year. Some of the things that are included, I will flag here, but again, you will see the draft, and then I'll go over the other topics that are included. So I am in the last annual report, the revisions to the design guidelines and standards were covered in depth, along with some land use code updates, all the work you did for a full year to get to those updates. Because this starts on August 1st for this report, I'm just repeating the fact that the revisions were approved by town council on August 6th. This is also included in last year's report, following a year-long review process. This is one area where, if you would like me to say more, I didn't want to duplicate last year's report, but if you'd like me to go into more depth on that work, I'd be happy to add more in from the process. Otherwise, we'll just keep it simple. They were approved. Additional updates are in progress. I'm going to be providing you, and I want to give you a heads up before town council sees this. In January, we will have a work session. The work session will be focused on a round of not comprehensive updates to the design guidelines, but very specific design guide updates, along with land use code updates that pertain to the wildfire resiliency code, building code updates that need to be updated in early 2026, so that everything is consistent across the board. So staff are doing an analysis currently. We will bring some recommendations, context, ideas to you in a work session in January for discussion. And there are some other revisions, clarifications to the design guidelines that staff have also identified on a limited basis that we'll also bring to you. So I'm just mentioning this to town council that to make these things consistent with energy codes. That's another topic we'll cover in January. The HARC retreat. So I put in a brief summary of our 2 retreats and trainings for HARC. As you look through, if you'd like me to add more, let me know, but otherwise high level. We came out of our retreat with 10 potential process improvements, 7 additional action items for the year ahead, and I note what the retreat's purpose was. I could include the attachment to the agenda for the retreat, but I don't know that it's necessary. Same with the training workshop with Nori Winter. I'm giving a very high level update consistent with past annual reports, which is the 1 paragraph highlights. And again, if you feel there's a need to include more or attach the agenda, I could. Otherwise, I'll stick to past practices and keep it simple, but I'm happy to add in anything you feel is missing. So the topics that are being covered and you can let me know if anything is missing topic-wise. I have the HARC retreat. I'm not getting into all the topics right now. I've just streamlined design guidelines, regulation updates, HARC retreat, design review training workshops. So I just reviewed those with you. Then also historic preservation staff trainings and our work with our CLG, our Telluride Historic Architectural Survey update, which we are working on a grant application for. And I note that our preservation awards, the comprehensive plan, and how historic preservation ties into the work we're doing. And I mentioned the work session that we had with HARC and that there will be future work sessions as well. But the importance of the historic preservation piece to our comprehensive plan effort, the preservation of rated sheds, I include an update on that. And then,
Maybe, well, I was going to say.
or did I miss it?
The contemplated public outreach seminar.
Yes, I was wondering if I should include contemplated, and I can certainly do that.
You
There are a few highlights from,
You can do that. You don't
Yep.
have to say when.
yep, nope, I can absolutely do that. And I'll put that in there. Thank you, Mark.
Can I add something too? while we're on the-
Certainly.
On the preservation awards, typically, those were presented to the winners by town council, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
So those are on the agenda for the November 25th Town Council meeting.
Okay.
I have here, if those who are in person want to see them, the awards themselves, which Tammy worked very hard with Lindsay to design. They match, they are the same design as last year's. They're so beautiful. And so that presentation will take place. And if anyone on HARC would like to attend, I'll send you the time, like where it falls on the town council agenda in case you'd like to be there. That would be wonderful. But thank you for saying that, Bob, just in case that was a step, this being my first year of all of these things. Grateful to all of you. So thank you. Anything else missing just on the ongoing activities topics? That felt okay, great. And then I have the standard as per past years, number of meetings, applications reviewed, hearings per application, large scale projects approved or currently under HARC review, development application CAs issued, attendance and recusals. So that's so I guess my question would be, is there something else you wish we had included in past annual reports that was not included? Otherwise, again, I'll stick to past practices this year, and then we can think about whether there are more updates we want to add in future years. So just let me know. I'm preparing for that town council meeting. So
I think that the if I can jump in
Sure.
on that last slide, the the council seemed to be most interested in the number of meetings, how many projects went through,
Right.
the process, and what types of projects, if they were, I think that we had that, if they were contributing or supporting and non-contributing or new construction, just
Great.
as a brief summary of what we
And
looked
staff
at.
approvals.
Yeah.
Small scale, chair and board.
Yeah.
Same format.
Same format, but I do see your point, Bob. I think I could go in more depth versus past reports on the historic preservation, the rated structures. I could add something more to that section as well. It's basically tables with numbers.
Right.
We may want to be a little more descriptive as well, and I can certainly do that.
Good point, Bob.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
I should have done it myself.
What's that?
I said I should have done it myself in the past.
Oh, I'm sure you did. Everything, I'm so grateful for all that came before, and that I have these models, and I just want to make sure I'm being responsive to any new ideas that you may have as we move forward. So thank
Anything
you
else?
so much.
Sounds good.
That'll be it.
Okay, we'll close with, oh, go ahead. Did somebody have something?
I was just going to add that the last things that Bob was saying was really the core of what town council wants to hear, and what those numbers is really. I wouldn't sweat too much about the rest of the report. That's the crux of what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Very helpful to know that. Thank you.
Totally agree.
So we'll close just very briefly here. It is a special night. And I'd like to make a motion.
Oh, motions now?
I'm going to make a motion to recognize Kiernan's outstanding service to historic preservation and 9 years, almost 9 years on the HARC board. All agreed, say yay.
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 I thought it was important to read it in the record, and I will give you a chance in one moment for a rebuttal. But remember, rebuttals have to be less than 3 minutes.
Yeah, of course.
Uh,
It wouldn't be
There's no
me if
end to
I
how
didn't.
long I could go. You know, what can you say? I believe that next to one other person, and then myself, that at almost 9 years, Kiernan has the longest, and certainly one of the longest service to to the HARC board. And I want to recognize that his collaboration with HARC beyond these meetings on many elements, utilizing his position as executive director of the museum for historic events, the tours, various initiatives joint initiatives with HARC and publications, needs to be recognized. And we're going to really miss that. I guess we can still collaborate. And without any of the pain of you having to be here. So, and Kiernan has obviously made a full-time career out of history and historic preservation. Who among us have done the same? He's always supported our 4 values of the importance of preservation, efficiency, respect, and consistency. He has always, and I haven't seen this universally among all board members, been blind to the applicant to rule based on the project and its merits and application of the design guidelines and land use code. There have been many nights in the past, we're going to adjourn about 8:02 tonight, but unless he has something more to say, but we've gone to 11 o'clock and sometimes later, and certain board members have said, you know, look, it's our 4th hearing, we're tired, let's just, you know, but Kiernan never wavered with respect to supporting the design guidelines. I believe he's one of the more stringent interpreters of the design guidelines on the board, and I am a little worried that the board in general has a risk in the future, certainly without him, of becoming too lax, and I hope that doesn't happen. We're going to miss your calm demeanor, your occasional but timely humor. And often you're the only one that gets my jokes. And we also appreciate your unwavering commitment to design guides and land use code time after time and time after time. I wish we had a highlight film to show at this retirement. But instead, I'll tell a few stories. No, I won't. I might next month. The town council is going to recognize him in December. Any of you are encouraged to come. What, you know what date that is?
December 16th, I believe.
Okay, December 16th. Good. But we all appreciate your outstanding service to history, this board, and our community. And best of luck with your leadership as the leader in America's 250th celebration and Colorado's 150th. And I know it's a lot of work, and they couldn't have picked a better person. So you have 30 seconds for rebuttal.
Well, I guess first I'd like to thank myself, because without myself, I wouldn't be here.
You yourself and I, or just you?
No, I mean,
Oh.
I don't know, Mark, that was all very, very, I feel like throwing up. I'm so flattered. But, I mean, to me, the job's pretty simple. It's all about the design guidelines, you know, as long as you pay attention to the design guidelines, I mean, I think it helps that I have no creativity and I'm not an architect, but, in terms of any kind of commitment to historic preservation, it's just what's been asked of us and what's in the design guidelines. And I'm sure that this board will rise to the occasion. And now, at the very least, we can say the meeting is going to be like 35 words shorter.
Thank you. All right. Yep. Last meeting that you and I were the only board members here to celebrate. So I guess we'll go out now. Sorry, guys. We'll adjourn the meeting at 8:05.
All right.
I have it back on.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right. I'll at least walk you home. Then I have to drive to the airport.